My name is Deborah. I'm 31 years old. I'm a systems analyst for a healthcare company in Portland, Oregon, and I notice things. It's not a talent I chose, it's just how I'm wired. At work, it makes me valuable. In my personal life, it turns out that same skill can save you just as easily as it can break your heart. I want to tell you a story, not because I need sympathy, not because I'm still angry. I'm telling you this because what happened to me has probably already happened to someone you love, and the only difference is whether they saw it coming. Nathan and I met 4 years ago, a backyard barbecue in the summer of 2020, one of those rare Portland afternoons where the sun actually commits. He was standing near the cooler in a navy t-shirt, laughing with people I barely knew. There was something easy about him, warm, open, effortlessly social in a way I've never been. I'm more reserved, more measured. Nathan made life feel lighter, less predictable, and for a long time I loved that about him. We started dating that August. By December of 2021, we were living together in Northwest Portland. Hardwood floors, good neighborhood, the kind of street where people walk tiny, expensive dogs and pretend not to care how much they pay in rent. Over time, I started covering more of the bills. His income from a marketing startup bounced around more than mine. I didn't mind, or at least I told myself I didn't. I thought we were building something, and for 3 years we were. Then came March of this year, and something shifted. It started small, it always does, nothing dramatic enough to name, just little fractures in the rhythm. He started coming home later, always with a reason that sounded plausible enough, if you wanted to believe it. Traffic, drinks after a meeting, stopping by a friend's place. And I did believe him, because I trusted him completely. Why wouldn't I? Then came the phone. Nathan had never been secretive with it before. We weren't that couple. If my phone was charging, I'd use his. He'd grab mine for directions. It was casual, unremarkable. But sometime in early April, he started angling the screen away whenever I walked into the room. Calls moved to the other room, and one night, a passcode appeared, a passcode that had never been there before. When I asked, he laughed it off. I kept pocket dialing people. This fixes it. Reasonable, too reasonable, so I let it go. He started going out more. Guys' nights went from occasional to weekly. He joined a new gym, evening classes 4 times a week. New names started appearing in conversation. Coworkers, friends of friends, women from his office. Names dropped casually like they should have already meant something to me. I'm not a jealous person by nature. I've never been the type to play detective over every change in someone's mood. But something in me had started paying attention, whether I wanted it to or not. My gut kept tightening around things my mind couldn't yet prove. I got home around 6:30 that evening. The apartment was quiet, except for the muffled sound of Nathan's voice coming from the bedroom, door half shut. I set my bag down, kicked off my shoes, and went to heat up leftovers. He was on the phone for 15 minutes. I couldn't make out words, but I could hear the tone. Low, soft, secret laughter woven through it. When he came out, there was a look on his face I still remember clearly. Not guilt, something closer to anticipation, like he was sitting on a secret he was excited about. Hey babe, actually, I wanted to talk to you about something. I'm planning a trip to Cabo with some friends, next weekend, Friday to Tuesday. Sounds great, I said. You've been working hard, you deserve a break. He hesitated just for a second, but I saw it. It's kind of a friend thing. No girlfriends, no partners, just us. There it was, a sentence simple enough on the surface, innocent even, but something in the way he said it made my chest go cold. Sure, I said. Makes sense. Have a great time. He looked relieved, more relieved than anyone should look over getting permission for a normal trip. That night, I couldn't sleep. Around 2 a.m., I made a decision I'm not proud of. Nathan was asleep beside me, breathing evenly. His phone was on the nightstand, screen down. I knew the passcode. I'd watched him type it enough times without meaning to memorize it. 0525, his birthday. I picked it up, unlocked it, opened the messages. The first thing I saw was a group chat. Cabo crew, 5 people. Nathan, 2 names I recognized, his real friends, and 2 I didn't. One of them was a woman. I started scrolling, and just like that, the whole thing opened up in front of me. Flirty messages, private jokes, a reference to Seattle in February, a trip he'd told me was for work. Photos, screenshots, and then one message from Nathan that made my hands start shaking. Deborah has no idea. Another from one of the others. Are you seriously going to keep lying to her until after Cabo? And Nathan's reply a few lines later, I'll deal with it later. I'm not ruining this trip. Pause. There are moments when your life doesn't explode all at once. It just quietly rearranges itself into something unrecognizable. That was one of them. By the time the sky started turning gray outside the window, I had stopped crying and I had a plan. Wednesday morning, I acted completely normal. That was the hardest part. Making coffee like nothing had changed, asking how he slept, kissing him goodbye at the door, while knowing exactly who he really was. He smiled at me the same way he always did. Easy, casual, like the life we'd built together was still intact. It wasn't. The second the door closed behind him, I moved. First call, Gary, the landlord. Solid relationship. Never missed rent, never caused problems. I told him Nathan and I were separating and asked about my options. He said the lease was in both our names, but for an extra month's rent up front, he'd draft a new lease in mine, alone. Done, I said. I'll send it today. No hesitation, no second thought. Next, a moving company, booked for Friday morning. After that, a storage unit, 3 months paid upfront. Clean, simple, temporary. Then I sat down in the living room, looked around the apartment we'd shared for years, and started sorting. Mine, his. There was no overlap anymore. No shared space, no shared identity, just objects. Thursday night, while Nathan packed for Cabo, I packed for something else entirely. He was in the bedroom, suitcase open, filling it with clothes I'd folded 100 times. He was humming, actually humming, like he wasn't about to walk head first into a lie he'd spent months building. I leaned against the doorframe and watched him. You're really excited about this trip. Yes, I am. I really need this. That sentence almost made me laugh. Need. Yes, I said softly. You do. He walked over, wrapped his arms around me, said he'd miss me, and for the first time in 4 years, I meant something completely different than what he thought I did. Pause. Friday morning, 7 a.m. His Uber was waiting downstairs. I helped him carry his suitcase, held the door, watched him get in. He leaned out the window. Love you, he said. Have fun, I said. The car pulled away, and just like that, the countdown ended. I went back upstairs, closed the door, picked up my phone. Come up, I told the movers. By 8:30 they were there. 3 guys, professional, efficient. I had already done the hard work the night before. Everything in the apartment was divided. His clothes, his shoes, his gym equipment, his chargers, books, random artifacts of a life we no longer shared. Even the photos. That was the only moment that slowed me down. Pictures of us, trips, holidays, moments that had once felt real. I packed them anyway, carefully, methodically, because feelings don't change facts. By 11 a.m., everything that belonged to him was gone, loaded into a truck, driven across town, locked in a storage unit under his name. The apartment felt different immediately, bigger, quieter. Mine. By 1 p.m., the locksmith arrived. By 3, the locks were changed. Every key, every entry point. Done. Final. I carried the remaining items downstairs, his bike, a few boxes, some plants he never watered anyway. I set them on the curb, labeled everything clearly, his name visible and plain. Then I wrote the note. Simple, direct, no performance. Hope Cabo was worth it. Your belongings are in storage. Unit details will be provided once you settle the outstanding balance. I taped it to the top box, stepped back, looked at it for a moment, then I went upstairs, poured myself a drink, and waited. Tuesday evening, 7 p.m. My phone rang. His name on the screen. I let it ring twice. Then I answered. "What did you do?" he demanded. No greeting, just panic. "Welcome back," I said. "How was Cabo?" "Don't do that. Why is all my stuff outside? Why can't I get into the apartment?" "Most of it isn't outside anymore. It was there for 4 days. It's in storage now." "This is illegal. I'm calling the police." "Go ahead. You're not on the lease anymore." Silence. Cold. He understood. Not everything, but enough. "You went through my phone." "I did." "You had no right. And you had no right to lie to me for months." Pause.